Hey there, this is Malorian, and this is going to be a Warhammer Fantasy Battle Report. And, I know some of the people have been saying, Malorian, okay, we're done with the High Elves. Let's come back to the Orcs and Goblins. So that's what we're going to do. We're back with the green guys. However, I still have a little bit of this monster mash in my blood. And with that, I just finished painting my second wyvern. So what are we going to do for this game? Double wyvern. Not just one, two. Now, we're also going to continue that on. I'm going to have a Ragnarok in there and a Giant. I like to do two Giants, but it's 2,500 points, so that's all I can really do. Now, because of this and having all those points going to Lords, because we're not cool like Lizardmen. We can't. It's not like Carnosaurs where we can put them on big bosses and stuff like that. No, it has to be on a war boss. So I'm taking no magic. But hey, that's not going to be that big of a deal because my opponent is doing a Khorne-themed army, and he has no magic either. Well, except for his little war shrine thing, but it's a little minor thing. It is going to be a watchtower, though, so all of a sudden that's going to turn this super bloody because, he's going to have his Khorne warriors. I'm still going to have all my monsters and my savages and stuff, too, so it's going to be bloody, and let's see what happens. So here's the battlefield here. We actually rolled for something very, very simple. We only had 5 pieces of terrain. One had to be the watchtower. We had 3 other buildings. And then we got a sinister statue, which we forgot to roll for the whole game. So basically, it's fairly wide open with a couple of buildings in a way and the sinister thing way on the side. But looking across here, yeah, it's going to be pretty bloody. From left to right, he is running with 4 skull crushers, then 2 gore beasts, chariots, and they both have Mark of Khorne. Then a whole bunch, a big block there of warriors with, I believe, shields and halberds. There's also the BSB in there behind a war shrine with the Mark of Khorne. Then 3 more skull crushers, and in there he's going to have a lord on a juggernaut, of course, with Khorne. And then finally on the far right, he's going to have 5 Knights of Khorne. So really just Khorne, 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 lots of killing. And really, he has no shooting. And the only magic he has is the one buff thing from his war shrine. So really cool army, nice and themed. On my side, yeah, I'm going with, there's going to be 4 Chukkas along the back. Then the Ragnarok. I'm going to have 3 units of wolves. One was able to vanguard a little bit up there. He also had a unit of dogs here that vanguarded up and kind of stopped mine from. I have the Horde of Trolls. I have the Horde of Savage Orc Biggins. I'm going to have 2 wyverns. Now, the one on the left is going to be my general, so he also has a charm shield and a 4+ ward. The one on the right, he has a shield. He is bare bones. Then I'm going to have a giant. And yeah, the last thing I have is a Doom Diver that's on the far, far right corner. So looking at this, he got to pick who's in the tower. He said I got to do it, and I have nobody put into it. I almost always have a unit that can start in the tower because, even killy guys like his Khorne warriors, they can't always go and kill off whatever starts in there in one go. And then all of a sudden I can countercharge. And that's really how my wyverns are set up there, so that if he marches up, I can then charge him with my wyverns. And as long as I get one of them in there, I should be able to hold him up because he's going to have to challenge. And, as long as I beat him up pretty good, I should be able to win, especially if I make it my WoC turn. And then that will allow my savages to get in. I have to deal with his dogs trying to get in my way. But yeah, that's really the plan. So, of course, everything is about taking the watchtower. Everything else is a diversion. I'm pretty sure my Doom Diver can take out his knights. My Chukkas are going to try and, kind of whittle down his things. But for the most part, I'm pretty sure that, even though, say like on the left side, my Ragnarok cannot beat those skull crushers. However, it can be a diversion to keep them away from the very middle. I am very sure my trolls can beat up both those chariots, and then it can just deal with whatever else is over here at the time. Meanwhile, on the right side, yeah, I don't really have a good answer to those skull crushers with the Lord, so I'm just going to redirect them and stuff like that and do what I can. All right, so, and this is like a little close-up of what's really important, just the watchtower. I'll be zooming out later, but like I said, this is what really matters. All right, so he gets first turn. He has the Banner of Swiftness, and these guys are right up here right away. And I mean, once these guys get inside, it is very hard to get these guys out because they got, what, 3 strength 5 attacks each? I mean, they put my Savage Orc Biggins to shame. So really, really dangerous stuff. But yeah, I mean, at least on the left side here, looks like I can hit it with a Wyvern. Otherwise, he kind of moves up with his Lord and his little war shrine here, and he gets off his buff, and it's things where like the Exalted gets +1 toughness, and the Lord gets +1 strength, and blah blah. I mean, really, these things are all really killy anyway, but the biggest things you're always worried about is you never know when you're just going to get a free Demon Prince out of this. So something I really need to try and stop, but hey, you know, I'm just running my straight dice against it. I have no Lord or Scroll or anything like that. So end of his turn, it looks like this. He doesn't move up a super ton, and the one that really surprised me at first was the dogs, because I really thought they'd be going up there to be redirecting and getting in the way of my savages. But they're farther off on the left. I guess he's trying to redirect me off there. But yeah, that's pretty much it for his turn. On my turn, my Doom Diver decides to explode, so that kind of really sucked. And also my Trolls failed Stupidity. So again, kind of also sucks, but that's what happens when you have no BSB. So after everything is said and done, it looks like this, and it really did not go the way I had wanted it to. Now, remember, what I wanted to do was to charge in my Wyverns. Now, the way he set it up, it didn't really look like I could get the one on the right, but I could get the one on the left. However, when I declared it, this is where he reminded me that by the rules, you can't be within an inch of terrain. And this is a rule where, you know, usually when I'm playing, we really stick to the units have to be 1 inch apart, but normally the going towards terrain, we kind of fudge that one a little bit more. Now, he's completely right, and then once he said that, that's where it made sense why his dogs were over here, because then the dogs made it so that they took up the spot where that Wyvern would have to land. So all of a sudden, there's no way I could get to them. I even was hoping that my wolves on the right could flank them or something, but no, there's no way I can stop them, so all of a sudden I know they will be in the building before my savages. That's horrendous. Otherwise, I sent my dogs into his wolves. Actually, he killed 3 to the 2 I killed of his. That went pretty poorly. But I'm set up so I can be kind of redirecting his chariots. I'll counter. Then with the trolls who failed stupidity, the Ragnarok just moved back. All my spear chuckas really just kind of failed me. I did 2 wounds to the skull crushers on the left, but that's really it. You can see the one non-general Wyvern went back, and the other ones are kind of just back over here. Savages set up in a spot where they can charge or enter the building as needed. But yeah, the whole idea that he's going to be in the building first really hurts. So on his turn, he charges these guys, and that'll be pretty easy. He charges into these guys, and that'll also be really easy. And his guys go into the building, and yeah, here we go. The test begins. Can he knock out like 25 Khorne warriors and a BSB from a watchtower? So after everything's said and done, it looks like this. His skull crushers just kind of like, well, they failed a swift reform. They were going to just swift reform and then kind of like swing around to the inside. Luckily, they failed. So all of a sudden, I know that he's also knowing that the inside is a real fight. Of course, he crossed those wolves, and he's kind of a little farther up. He kills one of my wolf riders with his dogs. I hold. His other skull crushers really crush them, and I hold. And this is where, man, I mean, if it wasn't for the watchtower, I would love to flank those guys with the savages or with the double wyverns and all this other stuff. But, man, it's all about the watchtower, and I got to come back to that. So on my turn, what I do is I charge like this. Now, the wyvern has to go into the building for one important reason. I could be sending in my savages right now, but they would just get outclassed, lose frenzy, and I'm just going to lose overall. However, if I send in the wyvern first, and he sends out one of his guys, and I beat him up in a challenge, I strip away frenzy. And then all of a sudden, you know, even though he's hitting me on 3s, he only has 2 attacks. My Savage Orc Biggins have 3 attacks, and all of a sudden now I can actually deal with them. So I have to kind of do this in 2 layers, which is very costly because of how, you know, it's limited turns. You never know when the game's going to end. But yeah, and then otherwise my trolls go into the first chariot there. Over here, my non-general wyvern goes into the flank of the knights. And when everything is said and done, it looks like this. So my Ragnarok, well, first of all, my shooting did nothing. Shooting did absolutely nothing. Ragnarok ran up there, and he's just blocking the Skull Crusher, so now he can't ignore me. My trolls puked all over that one Gorbeast chariot, left it with 1 wound, failed to catch it, but we went into the other one. In a weird turn of events, my one Wolf Rider beat his wolves and beat them and ran them down, so that's cool. In the actual watchtower there, he did challenge me with the unit champ. I kicked his butt, and so he held and stayed in the tower, but now his frenzy is gone. Now, one of the things I'm going to want to do later is I'm going to be wanting to charge out my wyvern so that he can charge away, and then the savages can charge from the building, so I don't need to spend a turn repositioning. But yeah, so far it's looking pretty good. And otherwise, on the right side, I beat the knights, because he had a unit champ there, beat him up, he broke. I didn't run him down, but I mean, if nothing else, this is great because now his lord will go that way, and I'm just keeping him away from the real fight. Over here, he charges my spider, and I have no doubt I'm dead, even though there's only 3 of them I'm fighting. Over here, he charges my wyvern, and I'm able to fly just to the board edge here, and he fails the charge. He does rally with the other knights, though, so they're going to be coming at me. Over here, this is kind of what it looks more in the center here. So he gets off his magical buff again. This one was with Irresistible Force and more little buffs all around. Luckily, again, no Demon Princes or anything like that. But man, it's always scary. You never know what's going to come up. And, you know, adding a single little Demon Prince, even though he has no buffs, is, or like he's not going to be kitted out like the Super Nurgle one, they're still freaking awesome. Over here, he is able to destroy my Ragnarok. He basically beats it up. I'm stubborn, but I fail, and he runs me down and bumps into the building. Meanwhile, I puke and totally destroy that one chariot, and I overrun into the other chariot to finish it off. And, yeah, the board basically looks like this. So on my turn, I charge into the building again with my wyvern, this time hoping to kill the BSB, because again, I could have tried to charge the wyvern at the War Shrine this turn, and the Biggins into the building, but I really need to get rid of that BSB reroll if I have any hope to kick them out. And, you know, it's really, the math is going to be very close, and I can't let the BSB be the thing where his extra super attacks are what's going to make him win these fights. So I got to send in my general again. And then instead, my giant's going to go over there just to block the War Shrine. So after everything's said and done, it looks like this. My trolls finish off that last Gorbeast chariot. That one wolf is coming back. He did challenge me with the BSB, and I killed him, so my general is doing great so far. Otherwise there, my wyvern was able to rally on the right, and my silly spear chuckas do nothing again. But, whatever. On his turn here, he charges in with his 3 knights. And he also charges me with the War Shrine. You know, this is just not a good fight for me. I mean, I could be doing things like, I can headbutt you, and then you still have a ward save, or I can beat you by 2. That'd be the number 1 thing I could beat this by. But however, one of my usually cool things to do against big things, which is Thumb of Club, you have to fail an initiative test. And for those who don't know, Warriors of Chaos have some pretty high initiative. Over here, he just kind of reforms to look at my trolls. And after everything's said and done, it looks like this. Now, one of the things I forgot to mention that was actually pretty cool is that when I killed the BSB, he actually failed his test, and so I pushed him out of the building. However, monsters can't hold the watchtower, so on this turn he just walked right back in. So it's one of those things where it's like, oh, I actually pushed out all those Khorne warriors, but it didn't matter because he just walks right back in. But whatever, so that's why you're seeing that different banner guy at the top there now. In the fight there with the giant, by the way, he went and he turned around with his general and his skull crushers, and they're coming back there with the wyvern fight. He did nothing to me. I did one to him, so I thought it'd be a draw, but he wins by musician. I fail, and we both run off the board. So that wyvern's down, but hey, you know, he kind of did his little distracting. That's all right. Like we talked about, I did thump with club. He passed it, did a wound to me. I'm stubborn, and oh man, this really sucked. I really wanted the giant to be in his way, so I said, okay, are you doing a reform? Because if not, I'll do mine, because I want to slide over. Because remember, I don't need to be perfectly lined up with him, I just need to be base to base. So I wanted to slide over and block his skull crushers, but when he realized about being able to reform, he slid over his war shrine first, and what that did was take it outside of the line of sight of the wyvern. Now, this would have going to be completely perfect now. My general has killed the champ, has killed the BSB, and now on this next turn, he could charge the war shrine while the savages charge the building, but now I can't do that. Now, because he shifted over, I have to spend a turn flying away in this repositioning. So that was too bad, but it happens. Alright, so on my turn, it looks like this. The trolls is kind of back up. I need to reposition. And at this point here, my general's now not needed. So he's going to be there to redirect those skull crushers away from the building. You know, my trolls are now going to be stupid, but whatever. They did their job. They're facing the skull crushers. And, you know, they've done what they needed to do. So on his turn, he charges my general, and I'm down to 1 wound, and even if I had my full wound still left, there's no doubt that this Khorne Lord is going to smash me. Over here, he actually makes a super long charge and sends his skull crushers into my trolls. I don't really care about that because he doesn't have the flaming banner, and my pukes are just going to wreck these guys. So after everything is said and done, it looks like this. His skull crushers are destroyed, so yeah, my trolls have been doing awesome. My poor little general's dead though, so that's kind of sad. He's still beating up on my giant. Can't really do anything to him, but hey, at least my stubborn 10 is keeping him in place. And now I actually get to finally charge the building. Now, he actually did have a chance here where the game could have ended, and he did not roll a 6, so we're going to be going on to turn 5. Or sorry, yeah, this was turn 5. He didn't roll it at the end of my last one. So anyway, now we're on to my side of 5 here, and I'm charging into the building, and this is where, all right, if I'm going to do this, I got to kill these warriors, and, you know, it's really important because I can't even really lose a combat either, even though I know I probably need multiple combats to make this happen. If I lose one of these, I'll then lose my frenzy, and that's pretty bad. So after everything is said and done, it looks like this. And yeah, there's kind of an issue in that, well, first of all, I went into his warriors there, and I did great. Just to say I did great. I made a lot of ward saves and stuff like that, but he only killed 6 of mine, and I killed like 11 of him. Now, he held, so I got pushed back out, but the thing that really hurts is that my giant got beat up and then failed his stubborn 10. So he got away with his 1 wound, but now his war shrine is into my savages. Now, this could be okay, because maybe it's just going to mean that I'm going to destroy it on his turn, and then on my turn I could charge again. But the bad news is if he holds me up and I can't stop him, then I can't do any more assaults on that building. We roll here, and the game keeps going. So on his turn, he charges the flank of my savages, and you know, this, it could be really good for him, but at the same time, I could probably just kill him. I don't know, but this makes it more dangerous again too, where the more things he has going into my savages, the better chance he has that I'm not going to go anywhere. Meanwhile, the skull crushers, where I've killed 1 of them now, charge into my spear chukka, because why not? And after this is all said and done, he kills the one spear chukka, runs into the other one. I kill the 2 knights straight up, so that's pretty good. Actually, I think the odds were I wouldn't do that, of course. But I beat him by 2 or 3 or something like that. But the really bad news is that he holds. So all of a sudden, I can't charge him on my turn 6. And we don't even bother rolling the other stuff. We just decide to roll for this first, and the game ends. So he holds the building, he wins the game. So there you have it, a win for the Warriors of Chaos. But you know, that was a nice, fun game. I really enjoyed that one. First of all, it was something where, you know, it wasn't your typical, you know, tournament-style armies. Both of us were very experienced gamers, so it's not like I was up against somebody new or something, but he just wanted to try out his Khorne theme, and meanwhile, at the same time, I'm trying like this Monster Mash, Orcs and Goblin type thing, and it turned out to be this neat little fight over the Watchtower. And I know people really are against Watchtower, but, you know, even this one game here, it really showed how there's a lot of things you can do around it, where, you know, I had my wyvern set up so you could come up there and I could try and hold you, and this is the way things would be blocking and all this stuff, and he did a very good way of blocking there. I mean, there's still a really good tight fight around that center building, and as long as you have both people knowing what they're doing, it's a really good fight over it. And really, it was a thing where, you know, if he wouldn't have held with that war shrine and I could have charged in again, you know, who knows? He could have easily just failed that leadership 8 and they could be falling out there, right? Or, you know, it's almost at the point where after that, if I get another round of combat, you know, if I would have killed, say, another 10 or something again, you know, it's almost at the point there now where he's not getting his full 10 guys anymore and stuff like that. He played a very good game, very smart. Some of the mistakes I think I made is definitely in the beginning there. I shouldn't have shot the Doom Diver at the Knights. It exploded anyway, but knowing that, of course, again, the scenario, why didn't I shoot at the Warriors to try and pick them down? Because that's really the #1 target. So it's just one of those things, like I said, I misfired, so it didn't matter, but looking back, it's definitely a mistake I made. Plus, in the whole thing, too, where I had my savages perfectly lined up with that building, and I don't really need to. That was kind of a real waste, because what that really meant is that for when that one turn where he moved his war shrine to the side, then all of a sudden I couldn't charge away and then charge in from behind. Meanwhile, if I was side to side, I mean, I don't need to hit the building straight on. I can just hit it with a corner. You know, then I wouldn't need the wyvern to get out of the way. If I had them more to the side, they could have really done that. But it was just bad positioning on my part. So that's that there. One of the things that my opponent could have done that would have really changed this completely is when I sent in that wyvern to kill off his unit champ and his BSB and stuff, my understanding is that he doesn't have to send those guys in. Because you pick the 10 guys that are going to go fight me, and if those 10 guys aren't either the champion or the BSB, how can they issue a challenge? Even though they have to issue a challenge, they're not in the fight. So that's my understanding, and that's the way he could have gotten away my scheme to take away his frenzy. But either way, yeah, it still all worked out. So pretty much overall, I really liked the idea with the wyverns. They were lots of fun. The Ragnarok really got its butt kicked. The Giant did okay until it kind of flubbed its leadership 10 at the very end there. But I think in the future, I want to try out the wyvern a little bit more, but I'm not going to be running 2. I think that's a little bit much. I would like to have some magic. I'd like to have, you know, a little bit more gear on him too, because really at this one here, all he was is just defensive. It'd be nice to have a little offensive thing on him as well. But yeah, there you go. Hope you like watching it, and we'll be back with more fun soon. Bye.